Today's video is a very easy to follow tutorial on how to make some pretty cool condition markers for your gamers, bringing a little light and magic to your tabletop with very little effort.
We're going to get straight into it. Today we are going to be making some very cool, easy to make condition markers. So why don't you tell us what a condition marker is, Dafydd?
Condition markers in D&D are when your player is affected with some kind of infection, disease, spell, something like that. Typically you put like a little ring, like a plastic ring that says this guy is frozen or this guy is on fire. And I saw these little makeup cups, these little makeup pots. And I thought, well, what if we put lights in there and then use a Wiston Castle Board, one of these little guys with a battery in it that reacts to a magnet that is hidden in your mini. So one little mini, and suddenly he's got the diarrhea.
So it's really easy to put together. Anyone can do it. You might have seen me use the Wiston Castle boards before in my brassiers whenever I put it into some of my boss room terrain, because we're going for very quick, useful and easy for you guys.
Outtake content. Brassiers? What?
I mean, braziers. How do you like my brazier?
So we're going to start off here with some fairy lights, very, very simple ones. These come with a pair of batteries on them. There's a little switch on them, and you know, people use these for weddings. They put them in bottles and things to be quirky and that kind of thing. They're ready to rock, but we need to cut them at the right point in the wire. You'll see that there's a jump in the wire between this section and this section. This wire is very hard to solder to, but this side is very, very forgiving. You can solder to this side. We're going to cut it just here so that we can solder it easily to our Wiston Castle board. The first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to tin these wires, and what tinning does is it covers all the little strands of wire with solder, and that's going to make it easier for us to solder with later. That's very easy. I just heat up the wire, add some solder. Now that's one solid unit that I can attach. The batteries that these Wiston Castle boards use are these really thin coin batteries called a CR1616. And so a CR1616 is 1.6 centimeters in diameter and I think 1.6 millimeters tall. And that's where you get this super tight thinness from, but it also means it's very easy to get them to fit within a small board. Now the way we insert these batteries is they go up against one side and then push down on the Y. So you see the Y is there, so we push it against there, then down on the Y. Now let's reinsert our test wires just while we're getting used to things, and we'll give the Gimli test. Okay, here comes the Gimli test. Right, so you see I put the Gimli on and the lights come on. That means these wires are the right way around. So I now need to solder them in the right way. So we'll take that one away, and I actually want these wires to come up. There we go. Now we don't need a physically strong connection here because this is all going to be tucked away. No one will see this. So one blob, done. I'm not doing some expert soldering here. This is something that anyone can do at home. Even teach your kids to do it on a Saturday morning while mum's asleep and you're burning holes in the table. Now, one of the important things I always teach whenever I'm giving classes on this is test early, test often. You know, every once in a while you might have some exposed wires after soldering that you think to yourself, I don't want to, them to short or touch against each other. And here's what I've discovered recently. This is rhinestone glue, right? You know, girls, girlfriends, wives might use it to glue on rhinestones to the nails, but in fact what it is UV resin or glue. It's just a little bit thicker, so it's actually really great for holding wires in place, and it cures really quickly. So let's go down to the board here, just blobs them on like this. It takes a fair bit of pressure. You can see how thick it is, and I'm just simply going to kind of push it amongst the wires and so on. Again, it's quite gloopy and thick. That makes it even better though, because you've got a little bit more control over it then. Now, I don't want to touch this stuff with my fingers actually. So UV resin is not good on the fingers and so on. But if I grab my UV torch and give it a shine, just let it bathe in that for a few seconds. There we go. Now if I come in, touch it, it should be hard to the touch and really kind of holding those wires in place. It's a nice little way, you know, if you're unsure of your solder joints, the first thing you'll do is test them to make sure they're working and so on, so you don't make anything too permanent. But adding a little bit of this over the wire, over the plastic cover and all that wire and stuff, will give it a few more years of hold so you can keep on playing. Let's try Gimli. Gimli's making them work.
So while Dafydd's working on the electronics side of these condition markers, we're going to try and figure out how to change the color of these condition markers, because condition markers become a lot more interesting when they have different colors. Blue for if you're frozen solid, red for if you're on fire, green for if you're feeling sick, this kind of thing. Initially we were going to do it with inks or something that would paint the different color onto the clear marker. But then we were talking about the movies and films and lighting and the fact that they use gels to change the color of light. As you can see, we've got some lighting gels.
Pretty hot.
That one looks pretty cool and red. A bit yellow. All of a sudden I'm looking a little sick and jaundice. Purple. All of a sudden I'm looking like bow chicka wow wow. You know what I mean? So we're going to cut some of these up and going to stick it inside the condition markers. So the depth of the pots is just slightly over 1 centimeter. So we're going to do 1 centimeter strips that we can roll up and put them inside the pot here at the bottom. So we've got our 5 little circuits that Dafydd has wired up, and we're just going to start putting them inside the condition markers. You want to work from that end and I'll work to this end?
Oh, the nice thing about these, there was no soldering. There's 2 blobs. There's 2 blobs that need to be soldered, to be fair. But that's not high intensive soldering. That's what you can be doing that with your kids on a Saturday morning at the kitchen table. You know, don't need a lab. I mean, we're in a shed. But I think these are probably some of the easiest ways of making active condition markers that I can think of. Reactive condition markers.
Reactive. Interactive.
Interactive condition. Oh, the algorithm's gonna love you for this, Michael.
I certainly hope so.
You're working hard enough for it. He looks hard for the clickbait. He looks hard for the clickbait.
So now we just need to test each one.
And there's only one Gimli.
Red. Green.
Purple.
Yellow.
I like the yellow.
I do like the yellow as well, yeah. Purple. Yeah, the purple's good. I like the purple. It's more subtle.
Yeah, it is. That's okay.
And blue. Okay, so that took, what, 45 minutes because we did 5.
Yeah, and it took about an hour because we were in front of the camera.
Exactly. But if you wanted to make one of these, you could do it in 10 minutes. Easy. Tops.
Easy. Take you over to order the parts from Amazon.
Exactly. So we've got Gimli here, and this is the Gimli that I used in my first Balin project, which is how Dafydd and I became friends. I was using reed switches back then, but since then Dafydd has developed this little switch system, the Wiston Castles, and that makes things so much easier than a reed switch, because reed switches can go wrong with the little glass parts and stuff. But yeah, now we have working condition markers. You can see Gimli jumping from each condition marker. So you're playing your D&D game, your character is on this section of the board and comes down with he's frozen by a
bad cold.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you can just switch him out with the condition marker and put him on top, and everyone on the table knows that this character, which can then be moved wherever you want on the board as he was before,
and carries the condition with him.
Carries the condition with him until his condition changes to feeling even more sick. check the description below. So we're going to put everything that you need for this little project in the description below. They are, yeah, like Dafydd says, affiliate links, which means without any extra cost to you, he might get a little kickback from you purchasing the bits and pieces through those links. So
yeah, and then the Wiston Castle boards are available from Terrain-Tronics.com,
which is all below as well,
until I can get them on Amazon someday.
And if you haven't already done so, Dafydd and I regularly hang out and regularly do little cool projects together. So please be sure to go over to Terrain-Tronics and
do the liking and the subscribing and the commenting and all of that.
He's got lots of great videos on easy beginner level electronics right through to stuff that's a bit more complicated for those guys out there who want to do a bit more with their terrain. So
fun.
Yeah, cool project, really fun. Now we're just going to hang out for maybe another hour before we crash into bed.
Yeah.
And pretty soon, guys, I'll have my Argonath video out, so stay tuned for that. See you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.